All right, Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan, joining us now. Former Dookie, Ken Dennard. Ken, how are you?
Good. I'll go by Kenny just so that everybody will remember how to hate me.
Well, I used to be Bobby Haney, used to be Kenny, now we're Bob and Ken, which I don't know what that means. It's a good or bad thing, who knows. But, Kenny, you've played in 4 of these ACC tournaments, obviously. You won 2 of them, and you played in Maryland 3 times in your 4 years. So do you look at this as kind of maybe a melancholy matchup, given the fact that this might be the last time Maryland and Duke will face in the ACC tournament?
Well, I'm more than melancholy. I'm angry. I love the Maryland rivalry with Duke, and it's grown through the years. It was very, very vibrant when I was playing. That was 30-something years ago, but it's gotten even better over the years, and I'm just sad that they're leaving the conference. So I'm not melancholy. I'm angry. I wish Maryland wasn't leaving.
Well, as we've talked about before, it's a financially driven move, but, who gets blamed here? Can't be the alumni, can't be the fans. I guess we look at the power brokers.
Well, I don't know if there's blame really I think there's blame to go everywhere, but I just think from a basketball standpoint, because that's all I speak about. I'm not into all the other non-revenue sports or football. I'm just talking about basketball because it's been a great rivalry, and I just think they ought to just destroy the NCAA and create a whole new federation of college basketball and have Jay Billis be the commissioner, and then everybody gets back into their own regions again.
Well, he's a sharp guy, as you're well aware of. You didn't play with Jay, but you're certainly friends with him, being a fellow Dookie. And what changes would you make to the NCAA if Billis was in command?
I would get rid of the NCAA. I think the NCAA is an archaic, old form of, just like certain governments' strategies, feudal governments, monarchies. I think the NCAA needs to go and then bring in some real modern, football federation. The 2 revenue-producing college sports could do a great deal to generate monies to fund their non-revenue sports, but they shouldn't be in the same governing body with the same types of oversight because they're not equal. But yet they want to be supporting their colleges. I know LSU, their football team, their sports program actually gave the university $4 million for its educational side. It didn't draw money from the school. It gave money to the school after paying for all the other sports. And that's football, okay? So I'm just saying the NCAA is out of date, but I'm not going to, I'm just this guy. I do investor relations, and I got clients, and I'm not into the sports thing, but you asked my opinion.
Kenny Dennard, I should say, joining us here, 105.7 The Fan. Maryland and Duke coming up tonight, and you said basketball. You played basketball at a high level, obviously not only at Duke but in the NBA. And the ACC tournament means what to Ken Dennard?
Well, it means again, I have two thoughts, 2 worlds I live in. The old world where the NCAA basketball tournament was secondary to the ACC tournament. Back in the day, you had to win the ACC tournament, and we were the only people that had a tournament that made it so to get in the NCAA. So you had to win the ACC tournament to get in the tournament back in the day. Then they started adding a couple of more qualifications when the tournament started expanding. But ACC basketball, ACC tournament, when I was growing up, was everything, especially with regional television. Of course, national TV has changed that as well. But so that's the past. The current future, I think the ACC tournament could be a detriment for the best teams in case of injury. Your seeding isn't going to be affected that much anymore. Whether Duke wins it or not, whether Miami wins it or not, the NCAA selection committee is going to say pretty much they're probably not going to be reseeded too different, maybe 1 or 2, who knows, but it's not enough it doesn't mean as much when it comes to the NCAA tournament. It's just more pride and school pride and pride for, fan base, et cetera. So I don't think an ACC tournament has the prestige and the meaning that it once had, but that's because I'm an old fart.
And a legend in the ACC circles, Kenny Dennard here with Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan. And we'll talk about Duke, and they are certainly in no dire straits as far as getting an NCAA bid. They're going to be a number one seed, and they've lost 4 games. All 4 of those games were lost without Ryan Kelly. He is now back. Duke undefeated, obviously, when he has played. Talk about how dangerous the Devils are with their big man and three-point shooting specialist back in the lineup.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that he did, obviously the first 2 games he came out and really, surprised people with his impact for points. But people have missed what he really does on defense. I bet you he altered 5 or 6 shots that would not have been altered in that game the other night, where he didn't have a big scoring game. So against Carolina. I think the 3 of them, the 3 seniors at Duke, are like a 3-part harmony. When you pull one of them out, it just sounds bad. So whether it was Kelly, whether it was Seth, because Seth's been limping around with his shins or whatever he's got going on, which he's been trying to manage through that and done a heck of a job. And of course Plumlee. Any of those 3 at less than 100% doesn't give this team the chance that it could have if they're all 3 at 100%. Because those 3 guys work so good together. They've been together. You don't see it in college basketball anymore, where you have that quality of group through the 4 years who've been through what they've been through. And it's just, I'm proud for Duke to have been able to keep a group like that, because you just don't see it anymore.
Now, Ken, you look at Kelly, you mentioned his defensive prowess, and the last time these 2 teams met at the Comcast Center, Alex Lynn outplayed Mason Plumlee, and I know Duke had been in the midst of 4 games in 10 days, whatever the schedule may have been at that time. How does Kelly help combat Len in the low block, who quite frankly hasn't played as well since that game? But you have Shaq Clear, you have Charles Mitchell, James Padgett. Maryland does have some muscle at the very least down in the paint.
Oh, Maryland's, and especially using that, those guys are talented. It's all about putting it together at the right time. They played very well in College Park against Duke. They could do it again. There's no question. I think what Kelly does in the defensive mix, he helps out more. He can, on these ball screens, the ball screens that are just dominating the game today, where you have to pop out and do this. Those without Kelly, there's more opportunity for something to go wrong on defense. I think Kelly gives them he has that experience to manage those high ball screens. He has the experience to help out and box out. And, blocking out is a lost art these days. The kid does it. So I just think he really makes a big difference. And Duke's offense usually starts with their defense when they're very successful. So that's what I see as a positive for Duke this postseason.
Kenny Dennard joining us here. Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan. Maryland Duke coming up here on The Fan at 7 o'clock as Maryland needs to win the ACC tournament. It seems to get to the big dance. Duke, of course, looking to be a number 1 seed, maybe the number 1 overall seed when it is all said and done. Ken, you played in the NCAA tournament. You made it to the national championship game. What do you make of the contenders for the national championship 2013? Who were some teams that may or may not stand out to you?
Well, obviously you've got the whole season to look at the body of work with Indiana. I like Michigan. I like Louisville. They're all great teams. It comes, and they're great coaches. If you look at this field, I think if there's not the major upsets early, usually there's a couple. But if you can keep the top 10 type teams moving through the tournament, you're going to have a heck of a Final Four. It's a very good year for parity in those top 10 teams. But you could get a couple of them beat. I remember a few years ago in 2010 when Kentucky, Syracuse, and Kansas all thought they were going to be in Indianapolis and wound up Butler, Duke, West Virginia, and I can't remember the 4th team. But, things happen in the NCAA tournament. That's why it's so exciting.
Michigan State was the other.
That's right.
They beat Maryland at the buzzer, of course, but we don't want to talk about that, Ken Dennard.
Maybe that's why I was blocking that, Bob.
Ken, we appreciate your time, and, of course, it's always great to catch up with you. Before we let you roll, for some of our younger listeners, what is your most memorable Maryland-Duke matchup?
I think it was probably 1980 in the ACC Tournament championship.
Yeah, I remember that game vaguely.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about my nasty voicemail I got from Scott Van Pelt?
No, I did. You have not? Oh, let's hear this.
Yeah, about 2 a.m. one night, he was with a buddy of mine, Joe Bessiker, at a charity event, and they'd had a couple of Irish car bombs, and they were laughing and giggling, and then Joe brought up that he was friends with me, and so they got on the phone, and I didn't get the message till the morning, and Scotty is just ripping me, going, Dennard, I hate you. You ruined my life. I was 12 or 13 years old, and I cried for a week when you undercut Buck. I hate you.
Well, you know,
expletives, but I wouldn't do that on the radio.
Well, everybody forgot that Buck didn't box out Mike Jaminski as he got the tip in to actually put Duke ahead.
Or that Albert could have hit the shot. Lots of what ifs.
Yeah, that's right.
The point is that I'm just happy to know that I have imprinted on Scott Van Pelt's and probably made him a better announcer for it. I still haven't gotten a thank you card. Just like Buck's never sent me a thank you card.
You know, I'm sure you'll never get one from him, but I guess deep down inside he's a loving man, and there's a lot of basketball love between the two. Kenny, as always, great to catch up with you. We appreciate your time. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll talk to you once the NCAA tournament begins, and hopefully Maryland will be part of that fun.
Thanks, Bobby.